Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Mik'd. Today is Monday, October 20th. We got therapy session.
Yeah, we already did it.
We had a little therapy session off air. We're here for you. If you're listening to us, we're here for all your concerns. It's not Ask Mikey Mitch, but if you got something that you really want to get off your chest, throw it in the chat. Lloyd may or may not have already said it. He may or may not read it. But just be part of the squad. We got a lot to talk about.
Get the club.
There is a lot to recap from this past weekend as it pertains to LSU and the future of LSU and what's next.
Wow, what happened?
LSU goes to Vanderbilt and gets beat 31-24. And we're going to get into this, but I think the most frustrating part of the game was not just that we lost. It was we lost, and there wasn't like, oh, he turned the ball over 3 times. Oh, we ran for 25 yards. Or it was we just got beat on the field. Your offense didn't play horrendous. They scored 24 points. They probably should have scored more. They didn't turn the ball over. They had a couple big plays. They ran the ball for almost 5 yards a clip. They didn't run it enough, but they ran it 22 times. They were behind. Your defense made some stops at the end of the game, but gave up some points early into the first half, beginning of the second half. You had moments where you felt like you could take the momentum away. You did not. And so it's like when you lose a game like this, you want to be able to say, damn, let's just make this excuse. Like we turned the ball over 3 times. It was just one specific thing. Well, that wasn't the case. And we just got beat on the field. They ran for 240 yards against us. They had the ball for double the time of possession that LSU had. They made every single big play methodically down the field. And honestly, Vanderbilt just was out more physical than LSU. That's what it felt like. They were on Nuss all game. And I thought Nuss played well considering that he was on his back. I didn't think he played terrible. I think he missed a couple throws. Receivers had some drops. It was a lot of things that they did average. And I think that to me is really frustrating because you don't have an excuse. So we're going to get into all of that. We have Bryce Kuhn coming on the show in about 5 minutes. He is Bryce. First interview question.
First question
of the Brian Kelly interview. We're going to talk to him about how that went. We listened to it. Didn't love it. Didn't love a lot of the things that he was saying. It sounds like his political background is coming out a little bit.
CIA BK.
It's not a. People were asking, man, do you think it's a Jimmy and the Joes or do you think it's a scheme? It's not a Jimmy's and the Joes thing. I think you have better Jimmys and Joes than Vanderbilt did. Vanderbilt has a buy into their coach and their system and what they're trying to do, and it doesn't feel like we have that. It's been the whole thing since Brian Kelly is. Everybody's bought in. We have alignment. We have all this type of stuff. It doesn't feel that way right now. And so that is a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about. There are some injuries in the game. There's a lot of things that happen that we need to get to. Around college football, a lot of other things also have happened. Listen, it's a wacky year for college football. You have Miami goes down to Louisville. You have Texas Tech loses all that money they spent. They go on the road to Arizona State. Arizona State got their quarterback back. They beat Texas Tech, so they're no longer undefeated. Billy Napier gets fired after a win. Which so I guess the predictions of him getting fired on Sunday was not false; they were true. He gets fired after getting a win. Wasn't there another undefeated team that lost?
That would be Miami.
Oh, I said Miami. Ole Miss goes to Georgia. They lose. Played a good game. Georgia comes back in the fourth quarter, covers. That was great. One of the few bets that I won this weekend. There's just a lot of wacky things. A&M, who LSU plays this weekend, now number 3 in the country. They're 7-0 for the first time in I don't know how long. Ohio State's doing what they do. They're dominating up the Big Ten up there. Indiana's doing big things. They're number 2 in the country. It's just a wild year in college football, and I don't believe, maybe Ohio State ends up being undefeated. I don't believe that there's going to be many undefeated teams at the end of the season. I think it's going to be a lot of carnage to continue to happen through college football. There's 5 weeks left in the season. With all of that being said, LSU's got 2 losses. They go this weekend at home, and they beat Texas A&M, which I think everybody listening and watching would not be shocked if LSU won this weekend.
Nope.
Would not be shocked, right? They haven't looked great, but they put it together. They figure it out. They win the game at home. You get the crowd behind you. You win that game, and now you go into a situation where you have a bye week before Alabama on the road. Now, you haven't won on the road any big games. We'll see what happens there. I'm not saying LSU is going to go undefeated, but if by chance they end up going undefeated, they will end up in the playoffs. They have put themselves in a terrible spot, bottom of the mountain. They have to climb all the way up the top of the mountain with no slip-ups. Odds of that happening aren't great based off what we've seen, but it's not impossible. That's the positive part I'm going to spin right now. Not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it could happen.
I can poke one big-ass hole in that positive part, but go ahead.
No, listen. There's a bunch of holes in the positive part. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying you should look at it and not panic and say, damn, we got to make some changes. There needs to be a lot of changes made. Our offensive line has gotten worse, I feel like, not gotten better. Nussmeier, healthy, but the offense isn't explosive. Wide receivers are dropping balls all over the field. You're injured on defense. You lost 3 of your starters on the defensive side before the Vanderbilt game. So you have a lot of things that you got to fix that makes that hole that you're going to poke into this thing really blast into that thing. I don't think you're going to poke it. That makes that even bigger, right?
Grab it by the haunches.
I just wanted to just throw that out there as a not being all negative. But
I mean, that's what I'll put this up there.
Yeah.
Like, look at these. This is the results of the weekend.
It's wild, dude.
Texas goes to overtime at Kentucky, 16-13, barn burner. Louisville beats Miami in a game where Carson Beck threw 4 interceptions. He could have given it away 10 times. The more he had the ball, the more he was going to give it to you. He's very, I would say, generous.
Yep.
That night.
I mean, look, there's
Vanderbilt beats LSU, obviously. Alabama continues to be the team that maybe not. I thought Bama was burning. Turns out not so much. The more I look at it, Texas Tech loses. Arizona State comes back. Arkansas A&M is the one I wanted to highlight more than anything, because wide open. And that's what that's the frustrating part about all this, right? It's like it feels like a year in which when LSU's won national championships, there's been years like this.
Correct.
Where the door's open for you.
Correct. And listen.
And you continue to lock yourself in.
The beauty of it is it's not over. So like they're not going to check out now. If they go lose another game, that could very well happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
If they lose another game, it's wrap.
Right.
Nice Christmas gift.
Right. So, we're going to get into that. I don't want to get into the show just yet. I want to keep going. Big game tonight outside of the doubleheader Monday Night Football games. Game 7 of the ALCS.
Best words in sports.
Toronto against Seattle in Toronto. Toronto wins last night. They have the entire pitching staff available. Gosman's available. So, Gosman is available out the bullpen. He will be ready to go to probably close the game if they need him. You're going to have Shane Bieber on the mound starting. You're going to have who pitched? They have another guy on short. Everybody's available, but I don't even know how to pronounce the guy from last night. Yesevich or something. He pitched last night, so he's not available. Everybody's available. Game 7, but the same thing for Seattle. They have a lot of their guys available, the guys that they rely on. It's going to be it's going to be a lot of Game 7s to go to the World Series. Game 7s in general are so much fun to watch because it's such a chess match. There's chess match. But there's so many moves that they make, and it happens earlier than it normally should happen. You have everybody available, all starters. It's very fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to it. And Bryce is in.
Yeah, that's right.
And Bryce is in. I don't want to keep him waiting too much longer. We're going to join Bryce, who you had the honor of asking the first question at the press conference. That was nice. Good question. Not a great answer, I don't believe. But let's get into this conversation, right? Before we really break down what happened this past weekend, I want to hear your thoughts on the Brian Kelly press conference today, because it just doesn't feel like it feels very political. It feels like he's a politician right now, saying the same things different ways, but we're not really seeing a change on the field. What was the feeling like in the room with him answering questions?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
You look so perplexed. I didn't know what to put you on or not.
Well, I didn't hear Mikey address me in the beginning because I hadn't connected my audio to the Zoom call, so I thought he was talking to Jared, and then I quickly realized Jared wasn't in the room today, so it's like, I think this is me. Maybe Jared was.
You sound like BK.
But no, look, I mean, in all seriousness, yeah, I think political is a really good way to put it. I asked the first question, and it really wasn't answered.
No.
I think is the best way to put it. Like, I asked the question about, the offensive line and just the getting inside the 5-yard line. Like, how much of it is execution, but how much of it is just like your mentality and your attitude, the want to get down there. And have they seen anything of that? And, Kelly said, well, which one, me trying to maintain my professional integrity, wanted to say, I don't know, maybe the 18 times you tried to do it this season. Didn't want to go that way. But
you didn't want to go full Cobble?
I did it. No. I didn't. He's going to watch this and Cobble's going to get mad at me. So now I just got myself in trouble again. But no, I think just in terms of like the press conference, people want certain questions to be asked. And, I've seen it. It's been on our message board over at On3. It's been on social media about, who really is going to ask the tough questions. But you have to realize, like, what is Brian Kelly really going to answer? And this is a relationship between media and coach that you have to be able to essentially grow to where he might give you an answer. He might give someone a better answer during a press conference. So, yeah, today, I asked 2 questions specifically about what I just mentioned, and then the other one was, look, you're pushing DJ Chester out to left tackle. Is it just based off experience or, in so many words, because you don't have anybody else? And, he kind of danced his way around that one too. But I think you have to know here, he's not going to just come out and say, hey, Joe Sloan's not good. We have an awful offensive line, and our defense played absolutely. Our defense isn't as good as we thought we were behind, Whit Weeks and Bernard Good. They're just not that good. And Harold Perkins has been a bust. Like the thing that fans want him to say, he's not going to say that. That's not. I don't know. That's not how I would want someone to run the program, just to be that brutal about things. I think those conversations happen behind closed doors, and I think the message of the fan base, at least from my perspective, from what I've been told, is those conversations have been had, but publicly. It does no good for him to go out there and throw a fit and whine and complain and slam his hand on the desk and say, hey, here's the issues. Everyone knows it. He knows it. He's been doing this for long enough. It's just, how do you navigate the questions that we're going to ask while answering but not really revealing and trying to throw your team or your players under the bus?
Yeah, and I think the frustration with fans, right? And because I agree with you. I've said that every time that he's had a press conference. I'm like, what do you want him to say? Like, he's got to he's got to be somewhat presidential in the way he answers questions, because it's a fine line. You say things that look like you're throwing people under the bus, and then you don't say things, and the fans were like, well, you keep saying that you're not really answering any questions. And so I think what the frustrating part is, even if you know that, right? Even if you understand that, look, he's got to say this. These conversations they're having these conversations behind closed doors. You have not seen an improvement. You haven't seen a change on the field, and that's the frustrating part. And I guess my question is, why is that? Is that because it's not because you don't have the talent to do it? You do, especially on the offensive line. You have 4 5-stars on your offensive line group somewhere on the roster. Right, you have talented guys. You have the number one center transfer in the portal on your team that's got experience. So you have the talent, right? So where's the disconnect? Is it the team? They talked about it before the season. They have a bunch of buy-in. Oh, everybody's bought in. It doesn't feel like they're bought in. It doesn't feel like everybody has the continuity. Does that fall on BK? Does that fall on the other stuff? Like, where does that blame lie?
Ultimately, because Brian Kelly's the head coach, it's going to fall on his shoulders. But I think when you get down to the grassroots of it, it's a combination of missed evaluations, and it's a combination of lack of development. There's a big problem with this offensive line. Like you alluded to, the star rankings, and I work for one of the services that does this, they had it highly touted. We've sat here each and every single summer when, official visit season was in full swing talking about the star rankings of some of these offensive linemen. And you're 2 years, I guess, into that crop, that back-to-back real true crop of 5, 6, 7 offensive linemen each class he brought in, and you've yielded no results.
Right.
I mean, you really haven't. And so that to me is a development issue. I don't, I'll say this, I have been so tough on Weston Davis, and for good reason. I mean, no number suggests that he should be starting in the SEC right now, but he has to. And I don't think it's his fault that he's struggling. I think that, you can see physically the makeup is there for him to be good, but whatever the issues, that you want to clean up when a kid gets on campus, those are still there. Whether it's a footwork thing, whatever Weston Davis's issues, and I want to use the word issues lightly, the things that you wanted to say, hey, we can improve upon this once you get to campus, those obviously haven't been fixed. Those haven't been corrected. Those haven't been developed. And you're just in a situation now where you have that lack of development. And then to your point, I think it's a little schematics, in terms of when these guys don't develop, they're relying on the athleticism that got them that star ranking in high school, where often they were the best player on the field. And that just doesn't play in this league.
Right.
And it doesn't play at the FBS level in general. And you've seen that not just against FBS competition, but when Southeastern came there and pushed you around a little bit. Louisiana Tech did the same thing. It's not going to surprise me if Western Kentucky does a little bit of that late in November. That's just the issue. And so you just I think you have guys that were not ready to playing, and that's a coaching issue. And that's why a lot of people, came out of this weekend saying, hey, I want to see some headlines. I want to see some in-season moves because – look, a team you beat last week, a week and a half ago, however you want to quantify it, they let their offensive line coach go. They made a move. Now, they still lost this past weekend, but fans are hungry for blood right now. And I understand it. I get it. Brian Kelly, for me, the first time acknowledged that. There's frustration and tried to quantify, his group's frustration and then, the maddening sense of the guys that are, actually playing the game. But I think it falls on coaching. I think that a lot of that talent hasn't been delivered upon, and that's a combination of both the young men, but also the coaching not getting to where they need to be. Because, look, you can make fun of star rankings all you want, but when you get to the NFL draft and you see the amount of 4 and 5 stars that are selected, the odds are good. And so it's not like these people doing the rankings don't know what they're doing. You're going to have a player slip through the cracks. You're going to have some bust, of course.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Not that many, not every year.
Guys that should be able to play.
Correct. You have enough of those guys accumulated that where they're not all gonna. You can't miss on all of them, right? That's just not. Yeah. Some of them. I'm with you on the development side. Jared's got one for you, Bryce.
Yeah, Bryce. You speak about the underdevelopment or the underperformance of the offensive line. This game we saw Bernard Gooden, obviously, who I think it's fair to say that everything that they thought that they were going to get out of Bernard Gooden this year, they've gotten that and more, and he's been awesome for that defensive line. But you have a game where you have him out, you have Weeks out, who's basically the captain of your defense as well. Do you think after watching that game that now there is a growing understanding, especially with the rest of the schedule that you have ahead, growing understanding that, hey, they don't have, I think at the beginning of the year, we looked at it and understood that, hey, this defense is really good, but they don't have true game changers on that defensive line, so they have to get real cute. They have to do a lot of things in terms of to be able to provide the pressure. Do you think people have now understood that and realized, hey, they can't really, really beat us up front, so if we can kind of keep pounding them and doing what we want ahead, we have a chance to beat them. And because of the underperformance of the offensive line, and because there isn't a true game changer, Peyton has played well. Bernard Gooden has played well, right? But there isn't that guy that you look at and you're like, him. If he wrecks the game, we may lose the game.
Mm-hmm. You go back to the last, I was doing a little look into this, maybe 5, 6, you can probably go back further depending on how you want to look at it, national championship games. And even on both sides, you had guys that they just struck fear into opposing offensive coordinators. And I don't think LSU has that. A.J. Halsey strikes fear in terms of if you're a receiver going over the middle of the field or you're trying to make a play. But, guys, that's 7, 8, 9, 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. You've already gotten some yardage by then in what you want to do. But I think you.
And because of that brand of ball, like it's just a different year. It's like you can't you still play it the way he likes to play it.
Yeah, you can't. Look, they don't have a true pass rusher. I thought Gabriel Relaford, to me, was the most explosive pass rusher. Once you lost him, that was a concern. Jamari Butler goes down. I mentioned, I think Patrick Payton to this point is a really good guy that just disrupts the pocket, but he's not getting home for sacks. Jack Pyburn doesn't have a ton of pass rush moves. Like, he just tries to bully people. And so, to your point, Blake Baker and this defense had to get exotic. And we saw that against Clemson. But then you look at the offenses they've been able to dominate. I mean, they turned to not be pretty good at all. Like, they're just not that good. And in this game specifically, Vanderbilt did a great job picking it up. So to your point, they had to get cute. They had to get exotic because when you lose Gooden, you don't have a pass rush from the interior. When you lose Whitweeks, you're losing a blitzing linebacker that's athletic enough to make plays. You don't have that in either of the other two guys that were utilized there. So you saw a situation of where when a team can counter that, when they can say, hey, I'm going to keep this running back in or this tight end's going to stay in and we're going to take our chances, they just kept capitalizing. And, I think it makes it harder on the secondary. Now, thank God this secondary is better than it was, last year and this year, because I think it could have gotten really ugly in that game if it didn't. But, yeah, to your point, they don't have a feared defender. And people keep wanting Harold Perkins to be that. And I thought it was probably one of his, if not his worst game this season in terms of what he put out there. But they just don't have that. And that's something that, in my opinion, even before I got down here to cover LSU, they have not had that in quite some time. Like that one guy, top 10 pick, where you're just like, he is going to wreak havoc. We can't run at him. We can't do anything. We're going to have to eliminate this side of the field in the front seven. I mean, guys, you guys have been around LSU longer than I have. I'm trying to go back and think about the last guy. Like, correct me if I'm wrong because I wasn't here for his entire LSU career, but B.J. Ojulari, they thought he would be that. I don't know if he necessarily ever delivered on the elite potential, but he was a pretty good player. But,
yeah, solid.
I mean, before that, you're going into the 2010s, mid-2010s maybe?
You're going Stingley was the last one.
Dope it.
If you're going to go...
No, he means up front.
I'm talking front seven. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I guess, honestly, probably Patrick Queen.
Chase on.
Caleb, I mean, so you're talking about the national title
19
teams.
team, yeah.
But no, it would be B.J. Ojulari would be the only other name.
You haven't had that.
Yeah.
And to your point, Jared, to be a title contending team, I think that you have to. Like, you can have a great committee, like a good solid defense. LSU has that. They just don't have that one guy that's a
But if you're not going to have that, you have to be very explosive on offense, and they just haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
They're not. And look,
they're not gonna.
There's a lot of issues on the offensive side, right? Everybody, the whole thing was Nuss needs to get healthy. Okay, Nuss is healthier. He wasn't bad. He wasn't a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, but he wasn't bad. But the offensive line was bad. The wide receivers have not been good. Like they lead the SEC in drops. You have issues. The best wide receiver you have is Tre'Davious Green. Mm-hmm. It's the best one. All the other ones they drop passes. They're not reliable.
It's a surprise.
Is this who they are? Like, it's not fixable. Is my question.
Yeah, I've been saying since the Ole Miss game, these are off-season problems that have creeped into the season. You can't do anything about this in terms. And I know that's a bleak message, right? Like that's a tough message to hear, and I don't like saying it because I was talking with some of the media today post Kelly's presser, and I was like, this is infuriating because all that you did to build this team, and this is the result 6-7 games in, like. You're 5-2, but man, you take a temperature of this fan base, and they're ready to fire a head coach who's 5-2. Now you got to look within and kind of what it looks like. But yeah, it is. I mean, to your point, Garrett Nussmeier is not even going to be close to New York this year. No. Like there's no chance. And I don't care if he throws for 300 yards the rest of the season. This offensive line will not allow him to be that. They're not going to give him enough time to do anything. Nick Anderson's stock. I don't even know what that is because you're never going to have an opportunity to really consistently push the ball 15 plus yards down the field. Barry and Brown, I will say this: people saw him come to the sideline, jawing back and forth with Brian Kelly, just talking to people. I don't think he's happy. I wouldn't be happy. You came here to capitalize on an opportunity that you had built for yourself at Kentucky. Wide receiver, where really is that? Now, you have some drops, no doubt about it, but you haven't been a feature role in this offense. So they are who they are offensively. That's not going to change. The bright spots, I will say, because I don't want to be too doom and gloom, Trey'Dez Green can be the game-changing factor. He's probably the lone game-changing player you have on offense in terms of your receiving and your core outside of Aaron Anderson fully healthy. And I think Kyle Parker's a nice player too. But Trey'Dez Green is a mismatch. Like you saw in that South Carolina game, they just kept feeding him. So it's going to have to be very elementary, and teams are just not going to be able to stop it if LSU's going to win games and push for a playoff spot. I'll also throw Harlem Berry in there too. Yep. I did a stock report this morning in terms of guys who I thought were trending up, and he was number one on that list for me. I mean, look, Caden Durham is a nice physical back. I think he's, whatever his true status is and his health, whatever it is, I don't care. But Harlem Berry needs more touches because his vision, his balance, and his decisiveness to hit a hole while also being patient, you got to have that with how bad your offensive line is. So, there are positives. Like, you can go win some football games, but you are going to have to overcome a lot. And so I just think you are who you are offensively. And then defensively, you are who you are, and you just got to hope it works. Like, LSU fans, we probably got really overexcited after that Clemson game, thinking this is the best defense in the country. Then you shut down DJ Lagway, and you're like, holy cow, like, those are two of the perceived top 5 quarterbacks in college football that you made look like they didn't belong anywhere near the list. And to Jared's point, I still think this is a really good defense.
Correct.
You're just going to have to play with fire because you don't have a true pass rusher that can come off the edge and win a one-on-one battle right now. So you're going to have to get exotic. You're going to have to, win some battles in the back and then to the secondary that's going to help out your pass rush. And I think Blake Baker knows that, and I know people don't want to hear this, but I think the young talent that they have is more the style that he wants. I still think he has a really good group in terms of what you have now, but maybe we were a year too early. I know that's some optimism and some hoping people don't want to hear. Maybe we're just a year too early on what the defense can do in terms of that front seven, because I do like a lot of the pieces. I thought Walter Mathis, I don't know what he graded out at, I thought he played really well. Like, he played physical, violent in the interior, and that's one of the guys that they brought in to kind of be a part of that next wave, or I guess I should say, like, Blake Baker's true recruiting class and his true group that he wants to throw out there.
Yeah, and then when you don't have Witt, or you have those guys or when you do and they're blitzing, and it gets picked up, that leaves the middle of the field wide open, so you don't even get to utilize the strength of your secondary, of the cornerbacks who are locked down, right? You don't get to utilize Mansour Lane. They're not going to challenge him because the middle of the field is going to be wide open. Vanderbilt utilized their tight ends all day, right? All day. And so that's another issue.
I got in trouble for talking about the linebackers on social media. So, but I'll say this, like...
Oops, sorry, I didn't see that.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
How are you doing to cover LSU?
It's
fine.
If I cried every single time I got.
Well, speaking of crying, you can do it if you want.
Okay, I appreciate that. Middle of the field was such an issue, and it became so blatantly obvious that they could utilize their tight ends on a hitch, on a seam route, like whatever they really wanted to do, because you had to go get Pavia.
Right.
And when you combined how over-aggressive they were and how they tried to get after Pavia, man, he played backyard football, and that played right into the hands of what he wanted to do. And so he could dump it over to the tight end. He could walk 30 yards to the end zone if he wanted to. And like you said, it took Tamarcus Cooley and A.J. Halsey truly out of what they do best. And I think that's kind of play center field. Both of those guys can do that at different times, and they can read and react. They're really good at it. I mean, Jamari Butler told us 2 weeks ago that A.J. Halsey and Whit Weeks are two of the smartest players he's ever played with, and I think you can kind of see that in the instincts they play with. You didn't have Whit Weeks, and you didn't have A.J. Halsey in the way that you wanted to have him out there, and so it took away two of your best defenders, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that was a disaster. I mean, the linebacking core, and I'll say this, and I'll get myself in trouble again, the linebacking core outside of Whit Weeks isn't as strong as we like to think it is.
Right.
Like, I think that's something, too, for me. You have Whit Weeks. You can't put Perkins inside because he doesn't play the run well enough. And if you do, then you have two guys that are going to be overly aggressive and overrun the play. West Weeks, I think, is a fine rotational linebacker. I like what he can do. When you get him and Devon Keys next to each other, there are some limitations to what they can do out there. And, I think for the most part they played okay. But like you said, you got so exotic with the blitz packages. You were putting those guys on the island. It was a little bit unfair of what you had to do when they're having to guard, a guy that is, going to be I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick, but Vanderbilt's tight end, the H-back, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
And then you got to account for Pavia. It's just that's not an advantageous situation.
Jared.
Yeah, so look, you go on the road and you give up 31 to that offense who's very creative, who is a backfield creator the way that Pavia is able to do. He's got good tight ends. They got the personnel to kind of play big and keep you guessing. I personally don't think that that's a game where you go on the road and you need to be able to keep a team at bay and kind of keep the score. You got to score with them. You got to run with them. Listening to Brian Kelly talk about the game and where the season is right now and not really acknowledging where things are, do you feel like there's a growing sense of understanding in the building that, hey, offensively, either we really hit the ground running here or we truly don't have a shot to do what we need to do or do what we set out to do for the rest of the year?
He's going to say publicly that all the goals are still ahead of him, and that's what he's supposed to say. That's that political goal.
And they really are. They truly are.
Yeah, on paper they are. Now, in my heart, you don't want to know what I think the record could be. I mean, it's one of those things. So I think when you talk about this offense and what they have to do, like Garrett Nussmeier was a big reason you were even in that game on Saturday. And I saw some people saying, hey, it didn't look great. Well, I mean, I think to me, guys, like, I don't know if it's going to look any better than it saw looked on Saturday because I think your offensive line is just that bad. Mm-hmm. Like, I do not think that it can look much better in terms of what you can do with Nussmeier. Now, decision-wise, yes. You do get the weird play to Xavier Thomas that he takes 65 yards for a score, which is fun. It kept you in the game, but it's just not one of those things. They just don't have it. I mean, I would be shocked. We'd have to see a complete 180 from what we've seen through 7 games. And 7 games in, you kind of know who you are. They'd have to change who they are fundamentally for anything to be any different. So I think you're going to find a lot of low-scoring games. You can take the under. That was my best bet of the week, by the way, in this one, the Vandy LSU under.
Yeah, but it hit over. Hit the over.
No, I had him at 60.5.
60.5?
I'm not kidding.
Where the fuck did you find
Where
that?
Where did you get that at?
I need a text. I think that was FanDuel.
I did.
There's no way. I never saw it at 60.
Then somebody lied to me. So don't tell them that.
Okay, yeah.
But
60. She couldn't score 60 in 10 games this year.
Yeah, I mean that's ridiculous.
If you got 60.5, good for you.
Good for you. You should have mortgaged your house.
FanDuel. Anyways, but I think you're just going to kind of see this group struggle. They're going to have to capitalize on some crazy plays, and that's just who they are. And I know I don't want to see that, but I just don't. To the earlier question, there's nothing I think you can do to fix it in season. So I just don't know what changes. And I'll even say this: even making a change at coordinator does not fix the issues you have
right now.
7 weeks into the season, right now.
Correct.
It's just that doesn't fix anything right now. That just it throws a piece of meat to the fans that want blood. To me, that's all that does.
Ed, that's what I was going to ask you because it feels like you said everything that you just laid out. It feels like a fan base that would be like, oh, okay, you've lost a game to Ole Miss, you've lost a game to Vanderbilt by a combined 12 points, both on the road in the SEC. Like, those are palatable losses. But it feels like after what happened at Vanderbilt, it has become it's reached its tipping point for the fan base, not because of the loss, but because of how the loss has been constructed and because of what is around you. It's not that you lost, it's that you keep seeing the same thing and hearing the same things, and that's what I wanted to get you kind of like, what do you think the temperament of the fan base is? Is it because of a loss, or is it because of maybe the structural integrity of the organization as LSU football is?
I think it's a balance of both. I think it's, the fact that you're sitting here before Halloween again and you have 2 losses. It's just, I think it's mind-numbing for this fan base to say, like, we can't even get to the Alabama game and get with 1 loss. The Alabama game becomes a do-or-die game, not a game where you can, launch into November as the favorite. I think that's a frustration piece. I think the messaging is, and look, I don't have a hatred for Brian Kelly like some of these fans do. But I think that the messaging does feel a little bit tone deaf at times. I'm having to not look at the screen just to make it. I think the messaging feels tone deaf when you say the same thing over and over again. Because like my third question today, and we didn't have time for it, was
What's the second part of the first part, Bryce? You knew that you were in trouble as soon as that, because that's the same thing that he does. He airs his grievances very publicly.
Yeah, it was the second or the first part. I think
both. How about that?
Just both. The whole issue.
That's why I asked it.
All 4 years.
Brian.
The frustration, the temper of the fan base, I think, is at a tipping point, and I don't even think nationally people realize how bad it is. Like, if you're not here, because you're like, oh, they're 5-2 from a casual standpoint. Like, they're 5-2. Yeah, they got some tough games, but like the idea, the thought process, I think nationally is, oh, well, they've got a chance to go put themselves right back in the race this weekend. They've also got a pretty good chance to get the doors blown off of them at home against a really fundamentally solid football team. And look, I'm not going to name names. A large portion of the media walked out of that today saying, I just don't see it like this weekend. I don't know what changes within a week. I don't know. What Marcel Reed's going to do.
Yep.
So I don't know how do you combat that if you don't have weeks? I don't think you can, because I don't think you have the caliber of athlete to keep up with the type of elite athlete that Marcel Reed is. Oh, and by the way, this is the first team that you faced all year that I think truly has 2 elite wideouts in Concepcion and then the other young man, what's his name from Mississippi State? His name's escaping me. They got 2 legitimate dudes. Mario Craver, the transfer from Mississippi State. They got 2 legit dudes. And so, hey, Mansour Delane, we're going to see what you look like against an NFL wideout. And I think Mansour's been great. By the way, if you run man coverage, little press man, P.J. Woodland, D.J. Pickett, you're about to get picked on, because that's all that teams are going to do against you. Not a shot at those guys. They've been really good. It's just the nature of the beast with how this group's constructed. So I think the Temperature fan base is really frustrated. I understand it. I get it. I'm frustrated, and I'm not even a fan of the team. I think it's just kind of ridiculous that you sat in the spring as a staff and you looked at this roster and said, yeah, we don't need to go get a tackle. We're good. Come on.
Yeah. And I think
it's been so laughably bad at tackle on the right side and the right side of the offensive line. I just the fact that you couldn't foreshadow any of that. That just doesn't feel like something that just surprises you.
That goes to the evaluation.
Crazy.
That goes to the evaluation part and the development. If they thought that they evaluated him to say, hey, this guy is the guy, and you believe that he's talented enough and he's capable of doing it, then either you're a bad evaluator or you're a bad developer.
Let me say this. That's why it's a fireable offense for those position coaches, in my opinion.
Right.
That's why you make moves at the end of the season. I'll just say this, because we're all thinking, if Brian Kelly is going to stay, then you are going to see a complete overhaul of this offensive coaching staff. That's just my opinion as we sit here on October 20.
Okay, with that said, if Brian Kelly is going to stay, what does that mean? I don't think they're going to fire him. Do you think he leaves?
Who would take him?
Oh, that's a deep breath right there. Ooh,
yeah.
wait.
That wasn't even going to be a question on my thought, but then you kind of opened the door there.
Yeah, I got myself in trouble. I think, I don't even know if this is truly publicly out there, but this has been talked about. Could you enter a situation to where, because this is happening at other places. It's happening right now at Kentucky, and I know Kentucky's not LSU. Could you enter a situation where you get into a conversation with a head coach about, look, do you want to keep doing this? Do you want to save face? You do have a legacy? Because I don't think next year, when you talk about
they'll be awful next year.
I don't know how you get the same funding if you don't win out. So I don't think you're going to be good next year. I could be wrong. But is there some type of conversation that's presented to Kelly because I don't think they can just straight up eat the $53 million. I guess you could, but whatever. If you're not going to eat the $53 million, could you say, all right, we're going to pay you $25 to walk away, save face, and retire?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's something that I'm just okay. I heard that and I was because I'll say this, that's what Kentucky's trying to do with Mark Stoops right now. Is say, hey, we need to save some money here on this buyout. I think that's something that Hugh Freeze and Auburn are going to kind of touch on in terms of what they want to do. Apparently, that's something Wisconsin and Luke Fickell might try to have a conversation about. And so, if you're LSU, I don't know. And then it becomes, what does Kelly want to do? Does he care more about winning Or does
No.
he care more about pocketing the money? And I know, obviously, how certain people feel about this, but I think that would be the only scenario. That would be the only scenario, Mikey,
Wow.
where you get him out without just straight up firing.
Yeah,
Because
unless he takes a head coaching job somewhere else, which I don't think he's going to do.
Nobody's going to hire him.
I don't think he's
I mean,
going to.
whose shortlist would he be on right now?
I mean, it'd be Penn State. Like, I think that's the one place where you're like, he could go back up north, but I just don't see that happening. Like, I don't see
I don't
the
see it
team
either.
investing 6 years, whatever.
We say that because it sounds good where we are right now, but as it stands, 2 years in a row after you've left there, Notre Dame's in a better spot than you are.
Yep.
Than you are right now.
Yep.
You left to come here to be in a better spot than what you were there. They're in a better spot than you, and this is 2 years in a row.
Correct.
So it sounds good, but if that's what Penn State's looking for in terms of wins, he's not the guy right now.
No.
You just fired the same guy, respectfully.
Yeah, it's just
You
a
fired-
paler
like,
James
what is-
Franklin.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
what
what I'm
is
saying.
Kelly going to do that Franklin didn't? And that's all, like, we're talking about, obviously, like, high levels of success here where you just can't win the big one. I mean, there's a lot of teams that would kill to win 8 to 10 games a year, but you know, that's a whole other topic for one of the day on what Penn State's decision was. But I just don't. I don't see Brian Kelly leaving. I don't see him being fired unless. Here's the kicker.
That sounded so palatable, what you just said. Like, it's like at some point, fundamentally, you'd have to be like, Brian, are you enjoying yourself? Probably not. We don't like you here. Like, let's just all good. We tried.
I'll
You
say
tried.
this,
This is what divorce is.
is. Well, I don't think Brian Kelly enjoys this new.
He
age of
fucking
college
hates
football.
it.
And I don't think that's a breaking news to anybody.
No.
So it's like
He
if
thought
you
it would
could
be easier, and it's
negotiate
not.
something- Yeah, if you could negotiate something to the fact of where it's like, hey, look,
Go away.
you're going to be a Hall of Fame coach before this gets really bad. Like let's part ways. We'll send you off. But that's obviously he's got to determine what matters more: the $25 million or trying to keep winning and spinning your tires in a year where I mean I just don't think
This was the year.
26.
This was the
This
year.
was the year. It always was because tell me this: we could be and I texted somebody this. You legitimately could be staring down the barrel of this right here. 7-5 this year, which is completely in the cards.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be real with you. Who's to say that Arkansas doesn't come up here and score 35 and you can't match it?
Right.
I mean, Jared, you just said it earlier. Like, can we realistically sit here and
No.
tell ourselves that you can match Arkansas? And Arkansas is awful defensively, awful.
But it doesn't matter.
I just don't know. So let's just say 7-5. You win West Kentucky, Arkansas. That's it. You fire your entire offensive staff. So now you have to hire a whole new offensive staff. Maybe Tommy Rees gives you the hometown discount to get away from the weirdos in Cleveland. I don't know. Then you continue to go. The next domino of this is, and there's no insider to this information, but this would be interesting. What if John Summerall down at Tulane gets another job? You know who they're calling? Blake Baker. And you know who Blake Baker would potentially bring with him? Kevin Peoples.
Yeah.
Who they would do another stint down there. So now you're talking about, hey, we got Brian Kelly back, but we got to go hire a whole new offensive coaching staff. We've got to go get a new DC. You got to retain players that you feel like are a part of it. Oh, and you've probably got to go pay for a quarterback while you're at it. You're talking about you have to add more next year than you did this past year, and I just don't know how. Unless they run the table, get in 10-2, or crazy things happen, and there's somehow there's a 9-3 team, I don't see how you get the funding to do this thing again. So you better have some dang good coaches next year that can elevate the team, and we'll see if that happens.
Boy.
It's a dark. I mean,
We're not in a good spot right now.
And-
That's
that said, you're
Yeah.
number 20 in the country, and you only have 2 losses with a
With-
home game against a number 3
with
team that
that
people
said-
think they can beat.
with that said. All right, and I'm gonna let. I don't want to keep you too long. It's the last question I have.
Bryce, we need to talk more. We are on the same page.
If the guys have a question,
Gotta
they
answer
can
the
add.
phone first, Lloyd.
I know.
Fair.
Fair.
Obviously, you got A&M at home this weekend, number 3 team in the country. The way LSU's been playing, they don't give you a lot of hope that you would win the game. But it's A&M at LSU. It seems like every time LSU, no matter how good or bad you are, you play A&M at home. It seems like it always seems to go in the home team's favor. With that said, you're not winning the game without Whit Weeks and those guys on the defense. What's their health like? What's their status like for this weekend?
He wouldn't tell us. So we asked the question. I mean, I'm not. You can read Darcy, the advocate, ask the question at the press conference, and he says, and you can go pull up the transcript. He goes, well, we'll have more information on what day is that again?
Wednesday.
Tuesday?
Wednesday.
No, it's Wednesday.
That-
it's been all year. for the past 2 years. Yeah, I mean, if Mikey, even if they do play, I don't think you win this game.
No, like I don't disagree with you. I'm just
yeah. So
what day we talk again? Who's on my team? It's they or we? I can't decide.
Yeah. So I just think, in bottom line, like you got to have those guys. With Whit Weeks, is it something he can come back from and play? And then if he does,
why would he?
What? Well, never mind. But what?
Jesus, Lord, you're the kids we're talking about right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think with Whit, it's like how effective can he be with that injury? And then Gooden, it's like, golly, dude. I mean, you talk about a collarbone. I mean, our board is over here. I know we have some doctors on our message board. We got people diagnosing bone bruises, acting like they know what they're talking about. Bone bruises are not just when you fell down when you were a kid off your bicycle. Like, they hurt. And I imagine a collarbone is not fun. So
certainly
you're
not
about a guy who's very violent,
position.
Sheds offensive linemen, like that's going to affect him. So I don't know. I mean, that first injury report will mean a lot, but also too, I mean, last week we were told Whit Weeks was he's just nicked up. So, I guess that's what it is. I don't know. And then I'll throw this in here. Last thing, guys. The most interesting thing that no one's talking about today from this press conference, I believe it was Ray Darcy again. He goes, so Coach, Jordan Gilbert and Ashton Stamps haven't seen the field here recently. What's their status? We're trying to protect them. That's interesting. Now, why is that interesting? Because they've only played 3 games.
Uh-huh.
And so, obviously, as you know, you can play your 4th game, and then obviously you can play postseason games. But I mean, I don't think anyone's going to care about the AutoZone Liberty Bowl for this team. But just in general, what you have with those 2 guys, what's the conversation surrounding that? Like, are they trying to transfer out? Are you trying to convince them? Like, I don't know about Jordan Gilbert. I imagine with Ashton Stamps, it's a battle of a conversation of saying, look, if you're willing to stay, you can be a starting corner for us next year because Delane's gone. I don't know why you'd guarantee a kid playing time in Stamps over Delane or Pickett. I mean, over Woodland or Pickett, but that's a coach's decision. Or they've gone to the coaching staff and said, hey, we don't want to lose our eligibility. We would really appreciate the opportunity to transfer somewhere.
That's what I think happened. That's what I think's happened.
That's what I think's going to happen. So now you don't have those 2 guys, and there's a reason we saw Jakeem Jackson, the transfer from Florida, play some snaps on Saturday. So, yeah, I mean, you said earlier, Mikey, it's not a good space to be in. I mean, you're not in Tallahassee, which that's a nightmare right now, and you're not in Auburn, which is not fun.
Or Florida.
I don't see. Yeah, I mean, but Florida pulled the trigger. So
you're right.
That's the biggest thing. I think right now with LSU, like if you ask me where are you in this whole, where are you in the terms of in the tunnel? Like, are you towards the end of it? I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel because I just don't know. I don't know what 2026 will look like. And I think even if you kind of ask around, and you guys know some people that obviously give money to the program, like I think there's this growing sentiment, and it's easy to say this, I'm not doing that again. Like when Brian Kelly comes out there and says, hey, we need money to do this, okay, but we're not doing what we did again because this was supposed to be the year.
Yeah, you haven't proven you haven't proven what I'm giving to you is being put
it's
to
a word. You're not getting an ROI. Like you're not getting a return on your investment. And that's what this is, a business. And so
especially in a year like you said where it could, I mean, if it's 8-4, 7-5, why would you be doing the exact same thing with the exact same people in place for the most part?
Jared, think about this. You could pay $20 million for a worse record than last year. That's what's crazy. How do you go back in any level of business and say, hey, we did worse last year with a heftier investment. Could we get it again and more?
Right.
Nobody would invest into that. Now, this is football and people are crazy and passionate, but yeah, it's it's a tough situation.
The only way you can sell that to somebody is if there's a staff changes on the offense or something that you did and say, hey, do what I forget what school it was, but do what these schools are doing. They go get a transfer quarterback, but they bring in their offensive coordinator with them. Oklahoma did that, right?
Yes.
If you say, okay, this guy's going, I don't even know who's out there to do that, but that would be the only way I think that you could convince people to say, hey, here's money. Look, it didn't work. Sorry, we didn't have the right people in place.
But then at the same time, you're also saying that whoever that said player is going to be highly regarded as the next guy.
Correct.
So, like,
That's
you also
all-
got to land that part of it as well.
Correct.
It is super layered in how that would actually make sense. I won't even say make sense. You could actually sell that to someone.
Yeah, correct.
Which is why I think, and I'll leave it at this, and sorry to keep belaboring the point, I think Austin Thomas deserves a ton of credit for what he did this past offseason in terms of reaching into the pockets of people, having the conversations, making the relationships. If he's able to do it again, and Kelly's still the coach, make the guy, I mean, sorry, Scott, he needs to be AD, because the conversations you're going to have to be able to get that type of money are insane. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. But you know what, guys? Jay Johnson and the baseball team are up at the White House celebrating a natty. So that's what really matters. And it's almost baseball season. So we're fully in that. It's I don't have much to say other than that.
We're almost there. Listen, we always appreciate you. We could have this conversation could continue to go a bunch of different directions, and I'd love to have you on for all 2 hours. But I know you can't do that. We can't do that, and we can't have you. We have to be can't be selfish with your time. But we appreciate your time when you give it to us. I will answer the phone call. Jared will answer the phone call. Lloyd may not. But you can continue. Listen, LSU's continue to do the same things over and over again, and it's not working. You can continue to do the same things without making the adjustments on your end. But that falls on you.
I'm just as bad as Kelly if I keep texting Lloyd. That's what I've learned today from today's show. So there we go. Hey, maybe
one thing that's
next
come up
time
on the screen this entire time this has been said.
Yeah, exactly.
Next 3 box, no 4 box over here.
There's no quad box here on the stream. There he is. No, next time, guys, I got to come check out the studio. I want to.
Yeah.
It looks awesome, and we'll have to do that. I'll love to get that done.
Love that. Love that. We got 5. Listen, we got 5 weeks left to keep talking about this.
I'm great in person.
As much as the shows do well when LSU does really well, they do also do well when LSU doesn't do well, because there's a lot of conversation about what to do, and you definitely threw a wrench in what we're probably going to talk about when you get off air about conversations that are happening elsewhere around college football, and is that a possibility here?
That was the first time I've ever felt any positive momentum when you said, maybe what if they're amicable together and just say, you know what, you don't like it. Like, that's a great idea.
Now, I want to preface it. I'm not saying that has happened.
No, you haven't.
No, but I haven't thought of that
Lloyd's
yet.
going to put out there that Bryce Kuhn came on the show and said that Brian Kelly
Insider.
said, nah, I'm good.
First question, guys.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
There you go.
We appreciate you, dude. Enjoy
How
the
does
rest
that
of your
work?
Monday.
Do y'all wrestle for the microphone or what? How does that go?
I don't even know how to answer that question, but no, we don't wrestle for the microphone. I mean, Lloyd, how about you come to a press conference?
I'm not
That's what we
credentialed.
did.
I'm not credentialed. Because I don't.
That would be a fun time.
They probably sent it to him. He just didn't answer. So
That's not true. No.
That's probably a good thing that's not credentialed, honestly.
Oh.
Especially right now.
That's what people don't. I mean, you think I'd be scared?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's probably a good thing you're not
I don't
credentialed.
think you would. That's the,
That's the problem.
That is the problem.
So, no, I appreciate it, guys, as always. Thanks so much.
Yeah, we'll have you on next Monday.
Yeah, I'll catch him on the golf course.
Later.
Jesus.
Later. Very interesting.
That was, and I'm not going to try
And
to put words in his mouth.
I know he's saying it's a hypothetical. What if? But like obviously that has crossed his mind because he's heard it happening other places, and
It's the biggest.
that's a conversation that's definitely being had between amongst
the brass.
No, I don't know about necessarily the brass, but amongst people around surrounding the program, not necessarily inside the program.
It would also save. I mean,
there's multiple ways of making this happen.
yeah, it felt like there was no ways. Aside from a buyout, but now it feels like that seems palatable. Like that seems like something that, for real. Like if we're being honest with each other, if he's not interested in having, $25 extra million, which I'm sure everybody is, like that's the real sticking point. But he's not enjoying himself. LSU is not enjoying him. If you can negotiate a way, like I don't see him coaching anywhere else after this. He said this was his last job, but he lies all the time. But like it seems like that would make sense. Like he can't be having a great run at this. He has to hate it.
Well, no, but then you look at what's like he has made a bunch of changes from day one. Day one, new roster. Then you had to get rid of your GM, bring in new coaches. Every other year, it's like these big wholesale changes.
It's harder than he thought.
And does he want to have to go do that again this year if that happens? Because look, if he's right, if Blake Baker does take the head coaching job, which I don't think that he's going to, but maybe if he feels like it's a sinking ship, maybe.
I mean, shit, you were trying to blame him for this loss.
Who?
Blake.
Who was?
You.
No, I wasn't. Not trying to blame Blake Baker for this loss.
Anybody can get it.
That's not what I was saying. But if there's now he's gonna have to make some changes on the staff. Like that's just.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
That's
bro.
reality of it.
Unless you're on the table, that's inevitable.
Correct.
Everybody knows.
And so, does he want to go and say, "Yeah, I got to have another offensive coordinator. I got to go have another offensive line coach." Potentially find another defensive coordinator if the guy leaves, if Blake Baker leaves to go be a head coach somewhere else. I don't know. But if that's the case, like, hey, do you really want to do this again?
Right.
And if you don't, all right, look, we're going to give you an out. We're going to give you an opportunity to say, now it's not going to look good. People are going to come at you and they're going to say, oh, he quit and he did this. But
he could just go.
There's an opportunity for you to say, "Hey, here's a little bit of money.
Leave at the stroke
you
of
go,
midnight.
and you don't have to. You're not going to ruin your legacy of what you've built, right? More than what people think of it now, and you're not going to go have to make these wholesale changes and have to bring in this whole new staff and have to go and recruit and have a new continuity. If you retire, we're going to have to do that anyway. The next guy's going to have to bring in his whole staff anyway.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Look, I kind of heard some of the Florida AD give a little bit of the speech talking about Billy and I guess the decision of how they did that thing. But the truth be told, of where the program was when Brian signed the paper, he's left it in a better place. If things were to go awry this year, he's left it in a better place than when he's found it. And maybe at the end of the day, this season to play out. I can tell you what I think, but there's season to play out. Maybe at the end of the year, maybe that was the real job for him. Obviously, we would have loved to have won. Obviously, everybody wants every game to be won in Baton Rouge. That's not, but maybe that was the real job for him at the end of this thing.
I agree. Maybe it was. Listen, sometimes it's the next guy that reaps the benefits of what the guy in front of him did, right? And maybe that was. Maybe, look, you came here, we thought you were going to be able to win a national championship. The landscape of college football completely has shifted. Mm-hmm. And so maybe when you got here, okay, now the mission is to get us in a position to where we're set up for the new age college football. So this new guy who's going to come in, who is young and hungry and not a made man yet, and has to go there and make himself here, can go in there and he can enjoy the way you cleaned up what was a really bad mess when you got here.
You can sell it as a win.
Correct. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. Like I said, this is all hypothetical stuff.
Just seems right.
But the conversation of people saying you got to fire Brian Kelly, that's not going to happen.
But right.
You're not firing him. You're not going to pay him $52 million. You're just not going to fire him. Like, it's not going to happen.
It would be.
So there's going to have to be another way of him stepping down, getting another job, which I also don't think is going to happen. I threw that option at Bryce because it's another avenue. I don't think he's going anywhere else. Penn State's not going to hire him, right? He's not going to go to Wisconsin, right? When they get rid of Luke Fickell, he's not doing that. So the options are either buy him out for $52 million or you come to an agreement where he retires.
Because also you would have to think rumblings around the athletic director or the head coach who made the hire. People want Scott Woodward gone. This is a great way for Woodward to be able to negotiate his way out of to be able to keep his job. If I can manufacture a way to get a amicable,
you're gonna have a new president here soon.
Exactly, like all the tide is shifting underneath your feet. Scott Woodward is somebody that graduated from LSU, wants the best for LSU, and I believe is the best man for the job. If you're able to negotiate your way out of maybe the one wrong hire he's made, is it fair to say that as of now?
And it's not.
But is it even fair to say it's the wrong hire?
That's what I'm saying.
That's I think you could spin it any way you wanted to because it was the right hire at the right time.
It just didn't work. Sometimes it just doesn't. Sometimes the right hire doesn't work out, right? Sometimes you don't marry the girl that was probably the right one for you. It just didn't work out. It wasn't the right time. Like. Sometimes that's just the situation, and that I'm not saying it was the wrong. I don't think it was the wrong hire when they did it. I mean, couldn't hire Lane Kiffin at the time. Too much smoke around Lane at the time. It was
too much Ole Miss, too much You can't go from
Like,
Coach O, what
Billy,
happened to
Billy Napier coming
not
here?
proven.
Like, would that have been different? Like,
No.
who knows, right? No, probably not. Like,
and
go
can't
get
go from
Dan
Ed
Lanning.
Orgeron
It's
to
just,
Lane Kiffin, and
it's
you
just-
don't know who Dan Lanning is.
It's just that there's a lot of unknowns. You had to You had to hire someone in that situation
Proven.
that was a known commodity,
And he did that.
and you did that. And I'm not talking as if he's fired or he's leaving or he's not. He may be here. Your defensive staff may stay intact. You may be able to go and fire your offensive coordinator and find somebody and bring them in, and it may be fine next year.
Yeah.
Maybe. But you're going to have a lot of work to do. There's going to be a lot of pieces that you have to replace. You have an offensive line that's not good.
Doesn't it feel like the writing's on the wall?
What? For him to step down?
Well, just in general of the relationship between LSU and Brian Kelly, LSU fan base and Brian Kelly.
I don't. I sit here and I look at it this way. It's like we sit here and say the writing's on the wall, but I also look at it and I'm like, at the end of the day, knowing the talent that's on the team, knowing what you thought before the year in terms of looking just purely at the roster, knowing what everyone ranked the portal and the recruiting class and all of this stuff as, like you looked at it and you're like, okay. But I'll be damned if you sit here and you can sit here and truly sit here and say, yeah, I think they'll run the table, end up with 2 losses and get to where they want to be. It's going to be tough to beat Alabama. It's going to be tough to beat A&M. It's going to be tough to beat Arkansas. It's going to be tough to beat Oklahoma. Like, these are 4 tough games at the end of the day. And it's, Bryce talked about it earlier, it's the simple fact that you're getting through. You're not even at the end. You haven't even reached Halloween yet. And you're sitting here with 2 losses in a spot where it feels like you got to do the insurmountable to get to where you want to go. And then now I'll hit you with the other side of it too, because this is where I really think that not only the fan base is, like the fan base and like where the mindset of LSU fans are. Let's say you do run the table of the regular season schedule. God forbid you go lose in the first or second round of the playoffs, because that same conversation comes right back. Because where this thing has gotten is to where people truly don't believe in the leadership. I think that's fair to say.
Right.
And so it doesn't matter if you go and like it would literally take them running the table, getting all the way to the national championship, and somehow losing a great game that they played for people to be like, yeah, I like what we got.
Yeah.
I think any loss anywhere before that, people are like, yeah. If you clean this stuff up, you wouldn't have been in this spot and blah, 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 and all of that. So it makes it a really tough situation to be in right now. And like, where does it go?
Even if he did everything that you just said, was able to run the table and win a national championship, I think a good portion of the fan base would be like, great time for you to step away. Like, you wouldn't be clamoring to keep him.
Right. I mean,
I don't know. I think at that point people would. I think winning solves.
You wouldn't
a lot of
extend
stuff.
him.
That's the kind of winning that would make people be like, wait a second. All right.
yeah.
I think people are truly just
I think
out.
unless you get that, I don't think people look at it that way.
But and look, they don't believe in the leadership because, and like we talked about this, the losses are one thing. It's how you're losing and how you haven't changed anything, right? Like you're losing with the same bullshit that you've been losing for the last.
Well, you can't fix both sides. You can't play complementary football.
You have false starts, you have delayed games, you have
Timeout.
unorganization, you have missed assignments, you have an offensive line that's supposed to be good but not good, not getting developed. You have a lot of the same stuff that just keeps happening.
Lloyd, I'll say this, Lloyd, and just to kind of go back on your last point. I want you to think about all of the conversation that went around how Les Miles was able to win a national championship. Now I want you to think about post-national championship, all the conversation that led to, well, we can't fire him because he's won a national championship. So if you sit here and say that if Brian Kelly were to run the table and win a natty, no, I think the conversation changed. I think people are on board. But I think that's literally what it would take. And I think that is such a high bar to set in the middle of October at this point, to say, I need you to run the next, at this point, 6 to, 9, 10 games?
Rattle off 9 in a row?
I think, and look,
that's crazy.
And here's the deal.
That's crazy, especially in today's college football. So I think this thing's really going to get interesting by the time we get to Thanksgiving, just because of what is actually ahead of you right now.
I agree. And look, running the table, making the playoffs, I think that saves his job. I think that takes the temperature down a lot. Make a run, win, whatever. I don't think they're a national championship team this year.
Okay, Mikey, but does it? Because they run the table and make the playoffs, and let's say in the first round of the playoffs, they got to go on the road, and they lose the same way they just lost.
I get it. The conversation doesn't go away. That's what I'm saying. Let me finish up. That's not what I'm saying. The conversation's still there. I think it brings the temperature down a touch with him going in the offseason and saying, okay, now we're going to make these whole – it extends what we're trying to do. Now, if it falls apart, now the conversation heats up of saying, okay, how do we get him out of here? How do we get creative to not have to fire and pay him the $52 million, right? So it's just look, if they go 9-3, like if they lose one more game and somehow are able to go 9-3, that's not going to make anybody happy. But I think that also prolongs it another year. Now, next year could be a disaster. Like, next year could be a disaster.
And who the hell ever thought that in the middle of October we'd be talking about next year could be a disaster already?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You did not think that going into this year.
I'm just not surprised.
Yeah, but
and also, I will say this, to give them, I guess, a little bit of leeway for the LSU football program. I mean, it does feel a bit like of anything that can go wrong has gone wrong. You go into a season, you expect Nussmeier to take this massive leap, he gets injured. You go into every football game, it seemingly was somebody else being hurt. Like there,
part
you just
of the game, dude.
I know, but I'm trying to manufacture like.
But see,
why
this has happened. I think that's worse.
I do too.
Let me tell you why. Because that's part of the game of football.
And that's part
your
of the
job
coaching.
as a leader and as a head coach, and your job is to have the staff and the people around you to be on have the same mindset, have the work as hard. Hopefully, you're working as hard as the leader is supposed to be working. To where somebody goes down, you are equipped to be able to put somebody else in there to be able to be okay. Now, look, they're not going to be as good because they're not the starter for a reason, but be adequate enough to where you can get through it. It's part of the game. Everybody has injuries,
and I think that's where this whole Brian Kelly experiment has kind of run its course. Was that it was lack of every move he's made. He's now out of moves. He doesn't have anything left.
He has no more excuses.
He has no more excuses, and he doesn't. And then the way he handled the Nussmeier situation, regardless of what you think you're supposed to say or how you're supposed to handle it, it feels like it was mismanaged. And at that point, the LSU contingency and the LSU fan base just doesn't believe whatever you say anymore. Like, they're just kind of over you. That's what it feels like to me.
I'll be honest with you too. Like we can give all this intellectual talk about what has gone on and insider view of how this thing has kind of played out.
You also ain't winning.
What about Brian Kelly's coaching career prior to taking the LSU job? What about the outlook of that has changed since he's been here?
What do you mean?
Wins and losses.
Oh yeah. Wait, what are you talking about? With the outlook of what?
The outlook of how he's performed, wins and loss wise, what about that has changed since he's gotten to LSU?
LSU was supposed to change that.
Yeah, he was supposed to win
That's
more
what he
here.
said too, right?
Yeah. Nothing.
He's won less.
So I think that's probably the most damning thing.
And the school that he left from is winning more.
Right. I think that's the most damning thing in terms of how you look at the performance of Brian Kelly and what he's done. There's been no difference. There's been status quo and or less than what status quo has been for his career. So if we were looking for a high floor, I have no clue where the ceiling is guy, well, then you weren't looking for a national championship because that's what you've got.
You squeezed all the juice out of this lemon.
Sometimes the time is. Your
Really,
time comes.
Like after Bryce said that, it really should just be like, bro, you're not enjoying yourself.
But it's not that easy. I mean,
no, but it should be.
He's got to agree to that.
Right,
but then there's a pride.
Like you know how insane you have to be.
No, listen.
Or
there's a pride and ego thing there.
Egotistical to be like, I can fix it. Like I can do this.
But
everybody is telling you, like, we don't even want you to fix it.
Every good head coach, everyone that's had success, has an ego of saying, I can fix this. I can get this done. Right? That's a quality of a good head coach. right?
Yeah, you're insane to think that he doesn't think that.
Oh no, but to be given the out of like I don't have to do this.
But he doesn't.
anymore.
But that's.
But he doesn't want to work.
The hardest thing you're gonna have to do is convince him to do that. That's gonna crush his legacy too. That he quit.
Yeah, Lord, you say that we don't know what the hell he's been doing the last 10 years. Hell, this may be his status quo of how he's done his stuff.
Right.
This may be exactly how he spent all of his offseason. We don't know that. So if they're gonna pay you $10 million to do the exact same thing, are you gonna sit here and say, "Nah, I'm good"? I'm good.
I mean,
Yeah.
that should be the hardest battle. If that conversation ever comes into play.
I just couldn't imagine like at some point it has to wear on you of like I have to go up to the media again. I hear what everybody says about me, like they don't like me, I don't like them. This is dumb. At the end of the day, like it's not worth it. That's what I would think. At some point, like, is this really worth me trying to either pretend I want to do the job or actually give a fuck and try to win? And like maybe I can't, or I could just walk away. I would quit.
The only thing that I think.
It was this year. He built everything up for this year.
I think the only thing that would be able to help convince him that that's the way to go is if all the funding goes away.
Yeah.
If Florida, I mean, all the boosters and all the people who are funding their NIL said if they don't fire him, they're not getting any more. Like, that was a big reason, according to reports. You know, if they come in and they say that, then it's like, okay, well, how am I supposed to be successful now? Now, I'm leaving money on the table of saying, okay, now I can kind of save face, and now I'm not getting any funding, and now I'm just gonna
your legacy can only get worse.
I'm gonna put the program in a worse spot than where I left it. I have
Yeah.
the potential of doing that if we're not getting any funding.
What's Brian Kelly's legacy right now?
High floor guy.
Is Brian Kelly a Hall of Famer?
Probably so, yeah. He's definitely in the conversation.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah.
He's never won a conference championship.
Whenever. I mean, that's. You can't say that because he's at Notre Dame for so long.
But I really do truly. What's his legacy? What is Brian Kelly? Like, obviously, the public perception of him is not great. What he's done at LSU was
But it's never been
underachieved.
great. That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like,
He came here to
save himself.
to change his legacy, and he did not. Hasn't done it yet.
and I don't think he's now. I don't think he really has the intent to.
I disagree with that.
He tried this year. He did.
I disagree with. I don't think he wants to. I think he wants to. It hasn't.
It's hard.
Worked.
It's not easy to win in the SEC. It's not easy to win.
It's not easy right now. It's not easy to win anywhere.
And what you said is correct. Nobody anticipated college football changing like this. Nobody did. And so he moved into a different conference in a different place that he's never been, tried to do it his way, and everything changed. And it became, oh, I'm going to be able to get every 5-star in Louisiana because, like, that's where I need to go get talent from. Then it became, oh, we can pay players. And it became, oh, there's a 12-team play. Like, I should have fucking stayed at Notre Dame. It would have been way easier with that money to be able to get players there. I don't have to play. I have a guaranteed spot in the playoff, and I could have eventually maybe cracked through. Instead, he tried to make the big gamble on himself of, I can't win here with a bunch of Nebraska players and Illinois people. I'm going to go to Louisiana. But then he still tried to do it that way of, like, I'm going to go to Bishop Gorman. I'm going to go to New Jersey.
And he's changed that.
He did, but it took him a while. But then it became, oh, it doesn't matter who I recruit. I have to go pay him. And he didn't want to do that either.
And then he did it.
So it's just he's been a year slow every year. He's been a step behind.
And then he paid the team. He paid it with a guy that he put all his eggs in the basket of the quarterback, and it hasn't worked out.
And then he got burned again. So it's just it's a failure.
Failure. It's just.
It is. I mean, this has been a failure.
Yeah.
I don't
know. I don't know what to do. We'll see what happens. Those conversations are for people that are more influential than I am. But that conversation of, hey, coming to an amicable.
I think we should. Tom, I think it's fair at this point too. Like, and I think that's one thing that kind of gets done wrong in terms of fan bases is I don't care, dude. Especially like if you're gonna lay out all the things you just did about the landscape of college football and how different it is in recruiting, to sit here and say that the only way it's a success as that coach or as the fan base, I'm not talking about how he's looking at it or how his staff should be looking at it is to say that national championship or you failed, especially within a 3 or 4 year window, is kind of crazy.
I agree with that.
And if that's what is going to be the outside conversation, good luck getting a good coach
Correct.
and or a named coach, right? Because I think that that's what everyone wants to come into LSU now is this huge name. When realistically, the last 20 years, the best part of LSU has been filled with coaches coming here and making a name for themselves. Nick Saban was a nobody when he got here. Nick Saban was a Michigan State head coach when he got here. Les Miles was the Oklahoma State head coach when he got here. It wasn't no national winning, bring him in, hottest coach on the press. That wasn't the case. Ed Orgeron was a quote-unquote failed head coach, interim head coach, who couldn't get the job when he came here. So if we're going to sit here and say that we want that big-name coach, but if you don't win a national championship, you failed, good luck trying to get that guy to come here.
Right, and I agree with that. I don't think winning a national. I mean, like, yes, everybody wants to win a national championship. The last 3 coaches here, all of those narratives, I get it, but you can't say, oh, he's a failure if he doesn't win one. I think it's more of a. To me, it's you want the guy to go in there and you want to be in contention. You want to be able to compete and you want to be competitive and be able to have an opportunity to have a chance to win a national championship. You don't have to necessarily win them. I would like for you to, but have a chance to be in there, right? And they haven't had an opportunity yet. They haven't had a chance in the 4 years he's here.
I think that's a better way to explain it. Like, to me, the way I feel about it, and I've said this a lot to y'all recently, it's just hard for me to fathom we're going to keep paying someone $10 million a year to not even be one of the last 12 teams.
Correct.
Standing.
12.
Correct.
And I get it. You don't get the full slate of, hey, here's 12 true opportunities. You really only have about 4 or 5 slots that you can fill through that 12-team field. Mm-hmm. But my point of it is, man, that's really hard to keep paying that bill when you don't get to play in those games.
Correct.
That's for me, that part is what makes it a failure.
In his
because
time,
if we can even get you to the dance, then how on earth can you say we should keep you coming back?
In his time at LSU.
So true.
Tennessee, Ole Miss, Alabama, Georgia, Texas. What other teams in the SEC have made the postseason, the playoff, in the time that he's been here? Texas A&M is close right now. South Carolina's been closer than LSU was.
Yeah.
Right, last year. I mean, South Carolina was closer than LSU was. But 5 teams have made it.
And you put yourself in position to be able to get there, too, and that's a part of the failure. Last year you were set up to where if everybody.
I'm fine with you saying it's a failure, but I just don't like the connotation.
But like even you got
a championship or failure.
No, but I'm saying you had a real opportunity to be able to go to a playoff 2 of the 4 years that Brian Kelly's been here.
Yep.
And you failed. Like you went to you haven't won. What's the narrative around Brian Kelly? I think it's fair to say he doesn't win the big game. That once you got even close to sniffing it,
especially
you
on the
down
road.
Your leg.
Especially on the road.
On the 11-11.
Well, look, there's a lot of good coaches that don't have.
It's hard to win on the road in the SEC.
No doubt.
But there's a reason he keeps pontificating his home record.
Pontificating.
Yeah, it's it's going to be interesting. I mean, we didn't even talk about this weekend. I don't think we need to talk about it. I think what we're talking about right now is more important than
that's
recapping of the game.
That's what's crazy to me is because that's what I was trying to get, get Bryce's understanding of is LSU lost by what? 5 points?
7.
7 points? And they lost
Should've
by
been 14
5.
probably.
Yeah, okay, cool. Didn't happen. You've lost 2 games this year by a combined 12.
I get it.
But it felt like for some reason this loss, and I don't know if it's Vanderbilt is not the Vanderbilt of old, but it feels like it. But it still felt like it hit like that, and I think it's because this loss felt like it was the absolute. And I like that's what I don't.
Well, you just because you've heard improvement.
I'm saying he's almost dug his own grave,
and you don't see it, and so yeah, you have that. And look, Do I think they win this weekend? No. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did. What's the line?
They are plus now 10,000 to win a national championship if you think they can run the table.
Yeah, that bet's out.
But I'm saying you could do it again.
I'm not doing it again. I've lost enough money betting this year.
But if you think LSU will run the table, or you can bet it somebody, maybe put that money somewhere else. If you like to allocate your funds however you like. Instead of Bayou traditions, it could be Bayou out traditions.
Let's see.
Texas A&M is a 2.5-point favorite over LSU.
2.5.
Fuck. I was only like
He was
6.
hoping it'd be more.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't gonna be high. It's just hard. It's hard.
What do you think it would be on the road?
7.5.
Yeah.
7.5.
What do you think the crowd's going to be like?
On edge?
Mm-hmm.
On edge, like it's gonna be. They're gonna want to be energetic, but it's gonna be a show me before I can really like embrace it type of crowd, which is the worst type, right?
Oh, I know.
And if they come out, if we come out and we go 3 and out, and they have a drive on us and they score points,
Or if you have to call a timeout.
or a false start. I mean, look, they had 2
Sack.
big plays called back at Vandy for
No,
penalties.
they could have won that football game.
Like, if those things happen early on and they don't look sharp, listen. A lot of the reasons why people are frustrated and they're different, but they're the same on why people were frustrated with Les. Because at the back end of Les's tenure at LSU, it was the same shit over and over and over and over again that you weren't correcting. It was, you were having you were having, penalties, or you're having these clock management issues. You aren't able to ever have an offense. You had all these offensive coordinators never change the offense. And, we're going to change it. He says we're going to do these things different, and nothing ever changed. It's the same type of stuff, just different, right? You're having penalties that shouldn't happen, false starts, illegal formations, nothing sharp, doesn't feel like there's a lot of continuity. It's similar, right? So it's, hey, we're going to change it. We're doing these different things, and nothing ever changes. And that's the frustration, I think.
LSU football just put out a tweet of Brian Kelly breaking down the Xavier Thomas touchdown, which I don't know what there is to break down. Hell of a play.
Hell of a play.
And
I was putting for Birdie at that time.
Nice.
When it was going loud over my loudspeaker on the thing.
65 yards.
I thought it was a Vanderbilt play.
Well, the only reason I brought it up is that the highest liked tweet under that is break down his buyout next week. I'm on the phone with God, and he don't like it either.
Yeah, it's
like there was not one positive thing said about that man.
Now look, the crowd could flip.
No,
right?
I firmly believe. Look,
I'm talking about just for this weekend. Like LSU goes out there,
sure.
and they have a good drive, they score, and defense comes out and it's energetic. Like the crowd is going to get behind it. Like the crowd is going to support the guys on the field. At the end of the day, and that's what I want to make sure that we talk about. At the end of the day,
they're still playing hard.
The guys on the field are playing, and they want to win, right? You can not like the head coach, or you can like the head coach, but that you should not take away from supporting the team and being energetic and giving them the home field advantage that they deserve. Because look, they're trying. They don't want to lose the game. So, however you feel about Brian Kelly is fine. Don't let it spill over into the game and affect the way the guys are expecting to come out and have you support them. That is, I think, fair.
Yeah, the brand is bigger than anything. Support the brand.
I saw somebody tweet the other day. The LSU brand is one of the best brands in college football, and they feel like Brian Kelly is ruining the brand. And that's not good either.
No, but you have to separate the two.
You have to.
The art and the artist.
You have to.
Because the reason people come here and you can
brand is gonna be it was LSU before Brian Kelly. It's gonna be LSU after Brian Kelly.
You can't let him sink the ship.
You cannot let Brian Kelly be the reason why LSU
why you
isn't
don't
LSU.
like it.
Correct.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's a Brian Kelly that's sinking the ship. Here's where it is for me. And I think where the brand may be sinking is, like, there was a lot of conjecture, a lot of people talking, a lot of visitors that came in for the South Carolina game that said, man, I didn't feel like that place was as loud or as it was what it was, cracked up to be. The reason I bring that up is because when you go through the latter years of Les, and then you go through one great year with O, but the other 2 years were not great, obviously, right? And then you go through these years. I think what has been lost in LSU over the latter years of Les throughout is there's no longer a season open belief and feel through the October weeks that this is a national championship caliber team. We've been surprised by those situations recently.
Yeah.
It's not, I know we have that, we can't wait to see it. So that's what brings that mystique to the field, I think. And I think that that's what was able to be built starting through those Saban days and through the early Les Miles years, is where people showed up knowing that, hey, I know one thing. We're gonna wake up at about October, and we're gonna be looking at a team that may have one loss or no losses, and we're gonna be ready and willing to go through November when the weather gets great and all of that stuff. Know what? That feeling is no longer in Baton Rouge. I don't have it. I know neither you two have it, and this is people that see and talk about it and have a good idea of what's going on in the program and in ball, right? And I think that is kind of what has changed. So it's not Brian Kelly that has ruined it. It has been all these years combined where you're just hoping, you're wishing, and then you got 2 losses in October. You're like, shit, this ain't the one.
Correct.
The next one. I think all of that combined is what has gotten this. I think what LSU fans really want at the end of the day, I think what any fan truly, truly wants at the end of the day is you have me feeling like as soon as this thing starts, we got a chance. Like, we got a real chance. Not, let me see what the offense looks like, and I'll tell you 3 weeks in.
Right.
So true.
Yep.
And that's how we did a Sunday show with Rohan, and like to see the pain in that man's face of having to watch. I watched it with him Saturday, and it's like it affects him. Like, because he helped build the program. Y'all helped build the program, and to see where it is right now, he's like, it just doesn't feel the same. And, like, the only thing that I could come away, like, after seeing that was, like, I want you to care like I care. I want you to care like former players care. And it just doesn't feel like that's there. And, like, I don't think you can change that narrative. It is what it is right now.
I don't think he can.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he can change that. Everybody is kind of, I don't think you can shift where he is.
Well, we'll see what happens this weekend.
Or go beat A&M by 10.
And we'll see what happens.
Go fake a field goal.
We'll see what happens at the end of the year. Because there are going to be some changes. What changes are, I don't know.
Something's going to happen.
No doubt.
The conversation is going to be so loud through November because whether it's good and or bad, it's crazy that that's where it's at right now.
The expectations were so high.
And they should have been.
They should have been.
They weren't unfair expectations.
No, out of excuses.
All right. I'm getting in bad mood. Let's get something else. Let's go to
You want to do something that's fun?
Yes, what is that?
I guess a segment.
Mistake of the day?
I have both a mistake of the day, but to put you in a good mood.
My
first.
curtain call, I think, is it all of our curtain calls?
They did it. They did it again.
Yeah, they did it again?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I was making sure we're on the same page there.
Because I have it pulled up, and it did,
That's but curtain call. Don't do that first.
Okay, I didn't know if we just wanted to sit out on a positive note.
Before we that is going to be a good positive note. That's the last thing we do. But before we get there, I do have to talk about our friends at Alumni Hall. I know it's not. No, we're not as excited as we were 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago. But you still have to go out there and support. You still have basketball season, which you still got baseball season right around the corner. I mean, you got team looks good again. They have a lot of guys, and you got to have the attire to support the team that you believe in. And the best place to get that attire is Alumni Hall, located in Perkins Row, right across from Barnes & Noble, across the street from the movie theater. Maybe
right.
Watch a movie, then go get some beer. Or maybe go get some gear, then go watch a movie. Whatever you want to do.
Or go to CVS, pick up a prescription.
That's it. McDonald's right next door.
That's true.
They have everything you need. They have hats. They have shirts. They have jerseys. They have sizes for kids, women, men, big and tall.
Teens, and everything in
between. They have everything. The latest drops that the LSU coaches and staff and players wear. They have those available to be purchased in store. Store is great, very big. Books. They have a lot of stuff to get. If you want overalls, if you want whatever you want, they have. And the more money you spend there, the more hall cash you get. $10 for every $150 you spend. So go in there and spend some money. Get some money back to be able to go spend for later. If you want to get some new colors, if you want to get stuff for football season, if you want to get the little
Basketball.
quarter zip, maybe basketball shorts, little quarter zip, whatever you may want, go check them out. Alumni Hall, located in Perkins Row, proud partners of the Mik'd Show.
Indeed.
right.
Indeed.
All right.
Pick you out some baseball gear. Or don't.
With that,
Because football, they still have a chance.
Mistake
of the day. I don't know if you saw this. It's Aaron Rodgers, old man, correct? Older.
Aaron Rodgers is older.
Still playing great.
Wouldn't call him an old man, but he's older.
Old man for football.
For football, yeah.
Dog age. Dog years.
Yep.
He's trying to celebrate his touchdown the only way he knows how. The fist pump. This is a vintage Rodgers celebration. Only to be tackled by his own teammate, who brings him to the ground, and he absolutely gets old man behavior and upset. What the fuck are you doing to me? Get off of me. And, and
Well,
Can't talk about 300-pounder.
yeah, what the fuck was
I
that?
don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know the offensive lineman's name. I need to find it. Because
Roderick Jones, former Georgia tackle.
Yep.
yes. And they tweeted him. He's like, does he have Down syndrome? He goes, I do.
Roderick Jones said that?
Yeah, he responded. So just an all-timer. This man obviously excited
They obviously
about
made up
Rodgers.
after, probably,
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
But Rodgers was pissed.
I would honestly, I would have been aggravated too.
Me too. I don't know what you're doing. You're hurting me. I'm
Like,
old.
why would you, like,
I'm coming off an Achilles.
yeah, why would you're 350 pounds?
Hop on my back.
I'm running. My momentum's
He's
going the
gonna
opposite
ruin-
direction.
I mean, this man, the last time he was even thought about playing competitive football and was actually feeling like probably how he feels now, where like I'm back to 100%. He was carrying the American flag 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good mistake of the day.
Thank you.
All right, curtain call. Show curtain call.
Show curtain call.
Listen,
To the
we
boys.
talk. Listen, it's actually a perfect time. It brings back good memories because a long 6 years ago.
Yes.
Feels like a long 6 years ago. LSU was at the top of the college football world, right?
Best team of all time.
Best team of all time. It was fun. They were doing whatever
They
they
could do
wanted
no
on
wrong.
the football field, and they went and they blew through the playoff, and they won the national championship.
Blew through the White House.
And then they go to the White House and they have a viral video of Get the Gat. Well, the new cream of the crop on the baseball side is LSU. 6 years later, they go to the White House. And obviously, the 2019 football team was a very big influence on a lot of these guys watching college football at the time because they were probably in 8th grade, watching this. And
They remember. And they recreated it.
Schmitty at the end.
In Baton Rouge boy.
Schmitty at the end probably had
Saves
the best performance right there.
Oh my goodness.
I respect it.
Those are our boys. Run it back.
Same president was in office.
Oh,
Same
to
time.
be
Get the
young
guys
and
in there.
impressionable.
Yes.
But I respect that. They're having a good time. Much
Deserved
deserved.
it.
Much deserved. That's one of the things that when you win a championship, you get to go and experience the White House. No matter who's in office, it's the White House. It's always
Well,
cool.
not y'all.
We did.
Yeah, but he wasn't
Wait a
there.
minute.
Obama. We didn't get to meet Obama.
No, I have a very important meeting
Yeah, with Afghanistan.
with Afghanistan.
And so we met Joe Biden.
Oh, sleepy.
Yeah. Before he was sleeping.
Yeah, that was before he was
Before he was
stopped.
sleeping. But no matter who's in office, it is actually really cool
You're a
to
sucker.
be able to go to the White House and experience that. So,
It did scare me seeing Jay behind the presidential podium because it's like if he, would vote. I've never voted before, and I wouldn't vote for him to do that because I don't want him to leave LSU. But he looked like a leader.
Yeah. And honestly, a cool thing, look, I'm not talking politics on this thing, but whenever a team goes to the White House, and like Trump makes it a point to like single out one of their players and at least like give them props. Like that was a really cool moment for Kate Anderson,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Like, Trump goes and makes a joke and talks about how he wished he could be his agent and negotiate because he's really good and
Part of
like
the deal.
shook his hand. Like that's a really, really, really cool moment. No matter who's the president of the United States, right? So like, that's a cool moment for him. So I thought that was pretty awesome too. All right. That's all we got for you on this beautiful Monday. Hey, one good thing that happened today outside of this conversation, the weather was great.
It's supposed to rain this weekend.
Yeah, but it's crispy. It was crispy today.
Thursday, hopefully good weather.
Hopefully good weather. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night. Enjoy the doubleheader. Enjoy Game 7 of the ALCS. Seattle is up 1-0, 2 outs, bottom of the first.
Gone.
Toronto's got runners on first and second with 2 outs.
What do you think happened? Dollar strikeout?
I do not think he strikes out.
What? 3 for 24.
But he had a couple hits last night. Postseason though, I think he gets a base hit, single.
Double play.
Well,
2 outs.
2 outs. You can't have a double play.
There you go.
Single. What did I say? Tie game. Toronto is tied 1-1 with Seattle. 2 outs in the first. 2 out single. So enjoy your sports night. We'll see you again live. Huh?
I thought Monday night doubleheader.
I said Monday night.
We got a lot of we got to get out of here.
We got a lot of action. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you on Wednesday, live in studio from 6 to 8. Enjoy the show. Like and subscribe to our channel. If you can't watch us, you like listen to us when you get your pods. We love you all.
Oh, double! Let's go!
We got it.
We got it.
We got it.